So this week I'm going to be using this lovely blue, and we're going to be joining into the last stitch of the row, and that's going to be where we got these 2 double crochet in 1 stitch. I'm going to be working into the second one. So your first one is always to the right if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, it'll be to the left. So this is number 1, this is number 2, and I'm going to join my yarn into that stitch and chain 1. Okay, so we're going to start with a double crochet chain. Oops. This one's split a little bit, but we shall manage. There we go. Just grab a stitch marker, put that into that. Okay, so that's our first double crochet. We're now going to chain 2. So these puffs are made by doing puff stitches 2 together. So yarn over into the same stitch as the double crochet chain. We're going to pull up a loop. Okay, the challenge here is you need to pull it up to the height of a double crochet. If you pull it up too high, you're going to stretch your flowers. If you don't pull it up high enough, it's going to be a bit squished. So if you're not sure if you got it high enough, go high. It's better to be too high than too low. Okay, and I'm going to yarn over, back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, back into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So you should have 7 loops on your hook. Don't pull through yet. Okay, so you're now going to skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and go into this next stitch. And then go to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I've only got 5 on there. Hang on, let me try that again. Ah, I didn't yarn over first. So yarn over, skip 3 stitches, into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and same again last time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you should have 13 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 13 loops, and then chain 1, and you'll have this upside down V for your puffs. Okay. Right, so now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and now we're going to repeat. So you're always going to be working your new set puffs into the same stitch as your last puff. Okay, so I'm going to work into there. So yarn over into the first loop and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. So 3 times. So for this first puff you'll have 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over, skip 3 stitches, into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and same again. Okay, so that adds another 6 loops onto your hook. So together with the first 7 you have 13 loops on your hook. And you're going to yarn over and pull through all 13 loops, and then chain 1. And that's what we're going to get. And then once you've done that, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and continue on down the row. Okay, so you're just making these series of puffs all the way down. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I shall see you when I get to the end of the row. Okay, so I've got to the end of the row, and I've done my last puff 2 together, and I've done the chain 1 after making that. and the puff has gone into the last stitch of the row. Okay, so to finish the row we're going to chain 2, so that's after the chain 1 you made to finish your puff 2 together, then chain 2 and double crochet in the same stitch as that puff. Okay. And that's the end of the row. Okay, so row 2, you're going to turn, just grab some more yarn, and carrying on in the same colour, you're going to chain 1 and then make a double crochet turning chain. Just grab my stitch marker and into there. Okay, so now we need to make the top part of our flowers, and we're going to be working into that chain 1 above the puff stitches. So if you just pull those chains up, you can see that gap there, that's where we're working into. Okay, so yarn over into that chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull up a loop. So you're going to have 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. Okay. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so working into the same space as at that last puff, go to yarn over, back into the same space, and make another puff. Okay, 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. There we go, and that's your flower. So you got 4 puffs to make up your flower. Okay, so now we move on to the next flower. So same space between those two, the puff 2 together in the last row. So yarn over, straight into the puff. Pull up a loop. 2 and 3 times, 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops, chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And did I only chain 3 in the last one? It's supposed to be chain 4. I shall go fix that in a second. Okay, and then we need to finish our flower with the 4th puff. So back into the same space, yarn over, and pull up a loop 3 times. So you have 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 7 loops. And there we go. So we're going to carry that on all the way down. So after this puff here, you go straight into a next puff in the next space between the puff 2 together. After that puff you chain 4, then you make another puff and carry on down. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I shall see you when I get to the end of the row. Okay, I've reached the end of the row and I've finished my final puff. So after this puff I'm going to make a double crochet into our first turning chain in the row below. Oh dear. Let's try that again without pulling a thread up. There we go. Oh, actually I don't want to finish that because we're going to be changing colour in the next row. So I'm going to change colour in these last 2 loops. Okay, so I'm going back to the first green colour and I want to pull through those 2 loops. I'm going to pull that tight and I'm going to cut off the blue. As we're now done with that. Okay. So we've got a new green, and I'm going to turn and chain 1. Just pull that nice and tight. Okay, so in the first stitch we're going to make a double crochet turning chain. Right. So our next double crochet is going to go between the double crochet and the puff. Okay, so we're just going to work around all of those loops there. Into the chain 4 space, we're going to make 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to make a double crochet between the puffs. So I'm going to work around all those loops there and make a double crochet. Then in the chain 4 space, I'm going to make 3 double crochet. 2 and 3. And then again between the puffs. So all these loops, I want to work around those. And we're going to do that for the entire row. So you'll end up with a pattern of a double crochet between your puffs, then 3 double crochet in the chain space. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with that and I'll see you at the end of the row. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row and I'm going to make a double crochet in this last stitch. So I've got the one before between the puff and the double crochet. So now I'm going to make double crochet in this last stitch. You can see I've already cut off my yarn because I'm going to change colours in this last stitch as well. I think I might cut it a bit short, but hey ho. Right, last 2 loops, and I'm going to switch this lovely purple. There we go. And now turn. And I'm going to chain 1. So in that first stitch we're going to make your double crochet turning chain. And what I'm going to do now is repeat rows 1 and 2. So we're going to make another set of puff flowers. Right. Okay, so instead of working into the bottom of this double crochet, we're actually going to work into this next one here. So this is the only difference. We'll work into this stitch here, we're going to skip these 3 middle stitches and then work into this stitch between the puffs. The only reason this stitch has gone in here is to kind of keep the look and the pattern going across. Okay, so into the double crochet that you've made between the puffs, pull up a loop. Okay, so 3 times, so you have 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over, skip the next 3 stitches and into the next double crochet between the puffs. You're going to yarn over and pull up a loop 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 13 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through and chain 1. Then chain 4, 2, 4 and repeat. So we're going to start our next puff 2 together in the same stitch as we finished our last puff, and we'll make the other side in this one. Excuse me. So apart from that very first stitch, we're making it exactly the same as we did in row 1. So I'm going to carry on with that and I shall see you in a moment. So I've got to the end of the row and I've done my last set of 2 puffs together and the chain 1 afterwards. And now I'm going to chain 2 and working in the last double crochet, so not in the same stitch as the puff, but in the last double crochet, I'm going to make a double crochet. Oops. Okay, and that's row 4 complete. So onto our final row, and we're going to complete our purple flowers, and this is a repeat of row 2. It's a proper repeat, so exactly the same. So we turn, chain 1 and make a double crochet turning chain. Get my yarn out of the way, like so. And just like row 2, we're going to be working into the middle part. Okay, So yarn over, into the middle, yarn over, pull up a loop, and do that 3 times. So you've got 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops, then chain 4, and then back into the same stitch and make another puff. Excuse me. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I finished my final stitch and I've made, after the last puff, I made a double crochet into double crochet of the previous row. So once that's done, you can cut off and weave in your ends, and that is week 8 complete. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and I shall see you next week for week 9. Bye for now.